Okay, welcome back to part 5 of LEGO Marvel Superheroes. And you see this time we're being joined by Phil Coulson there on the left and War Machine doing his idle animations. Uh, it's interesting. One of the things I did, they kind of did some shortcuts here. War Machine's idle animations are the exact same as Tony's idle animations when he's in his Iron Man suits. So that includes the hey, look at me idle animation, which doesn't really fit in character with Rhodey all that much, but he will still do it because, again, they were trying. Now, the difference between the War Machine suit and the Iron Man suits is this gun on the back, which makes it a much more effective anti-personnel weapon. So, the War Machine is a better range attacker just because he can shoot at a higher rate. Phil Coulson doesn't have a lot of neat powers, but he does get the big gun from the Avengers movie. Unfortunately, that gun only blows up silver items. I thought that was kind of a letdown considering how overpowered the gun was supposed to be. But that's Phil Coulson and his gun there. And here's the look of the War Machine suit. I kind of like the coloration, particularly against the sort of garish Iron Man suits. And, War Machine's a character that in the free play I use a lot for those reasons. But it's now time for us to enter what has to be my favorite level in this game, even though it asks a lot of questions continuity-wise. And this is the level where Loki, the Mandarin, and Aldrich Killian have taken over Stark Tower. And we've got to break in and restore things back to normal. When we last left Iron Man, if you remember, Tony had just gotten desuited by Magneto, which means that the Mark VI Iron Man suit is no longer available to us. And I thought that was sort of a neat piece of continuity because at the end of Iron Man 3, which this video game clearly comes after, Iron Man had blown up most, if not all, of his suits. But there's a chance that the suits that were located in the display cases in the front of his house survived. And the Mark VI would have been one of those suits. But as we're going to see in this level, maybe we shouldn't really pay much attention to those kinds of things as we wander through Tony Stark's mansion to seize control back. Fortunately, Tony designed a bunch of Captain America shield puzzles into his mansion just in case it got taken over so that Cap could help him out. Going to cause a bit of a problem now that we've gone past the Civil War phase. But at least it seemed like a good idea at the time, right? Now, I will note that in this video, I tried to cut the time down a little bit. I mean, we were going for 40 minutes last time. And while I used to spend my my time talking to people for almost 40 minutes straight, it really takes it out of you more than you think it would. And, this was a complaint, or not a complaint, but this was something that the Game Grumps mentioned about how much effort it actually takes to voice act. And clearly I'm just starting. But before I did this, I used to lecture, for 45 minutes at a time. So, but it's completely different, I think, as Cap destroys everything in Tony's house. Maybe a little bit anticipating the Civil War to come. But also, Tony saying needed a control. It really is different just talking into a microphone than it is dealing with an audience. An audience gives you something to react to. If something is not working, if you need to adjust something, then you can go and make a joke or throw something out there and see what works. In this case, I really don't. You're just talking to yourself. So it seems less interactive. It seems less. It seems a little less engaged, and in some cases, I think that I come off fairly bland compared to what I would have expected. But I hope I get better at this over time. All right, so now Cap is eliminating this laser here. Again, another very fortunately placed Captain America spot in Tony's house. Now, in the future, Tony's Stark Tower here will become the Avenger Tower, and that might make more sense. But as of right now, it's still Stark Tower, and so it's just a little odd. Also a little odd is what we're doing. We're trying to get access to the Iron Man Mark I suit. Now, this is both really neat and at the same time really infuriating. The neat part is the first Iron Man suit was not connected to JARVIS. So it is correct that this is the only suit that we can use with the system hack. The problem is that Tony's not supposed to have the Iron Man Mark I. Although I could be wrong about this. I'll have to go back and look at his suit display case, from Iron Man 3. He might have gotten, since Obadiah Stane didn't actually use the Mark I, it was just used as a basis for the Ironmonger. It could be that the original Iron Man Mark I suit did end up in Tony's display case. Again, I'll have to go back and look at the movies, but my initial impression when getting this was like, oh, this is neat because this makes sense, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure this thing was destroyed and in pieces and handed over to Stane, and we never saw it again. But again, I could just be misremembering the display scenes from Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. Now, this level is a lot faster in free play than it is in story mode. Of course, like many levels are, because you can come in here with a Iron Man suit that's already capable of flight. The Iron Man Mark I, while it has the ability to shoot projectiles and can hover briefly, can't fly and can't destroy gold objects. But you come into this level with the Iron Man Mark 42 suit, and all of a sudden, things happen much faster. You don't even need to do this Captain America part here, where you got to hack to bring the thing over so that Cap can travel safely across the electricity and then fight the fire. Because you can fly over all these obstacles. And so Cap shuts down the little barrier there, which again, you can fly over in free play, not a big deal. And now there's Mr. Killian. This one, the return of Aldrich Killian is kind of weird. I mean, granted, there are a lot of villains who appeared to have died in the Marvel movies that make an appearance in this game. Like you saw in the last episode where they freed Red Skull, who didn't look like he made it out of the first Captain America movie. And Aldrich Killian looked like, he was defeated by, I think, Gwyneth Paltrow. in Iron Man 3, but potentially if some part of him survived, the extremis capabilities sort of turn him into a cell-like creature, or a Namekian for Dragon Ball Z lore, as far as being able to repair himself, and perhaps he could have repaired his entire body from just some small thing. And so there you saw a couple jump cuts. This one is because I ran around, and what had happened is I missed that this was a handle, because it sort of looked like a Thor charging station. So I didn't remember that it was actually a thing to jump up and grab. And that mistake, unfortunately, is one that I'm going to make quite a bit here. Not in this level, because that's the only case where there's where I had a problem noticing a bar. But when it comes to the next level, when we're going after Hydra, I'll make that mistake a couple times. Another thing I don't like, again, is the extremist troops. We were all by ourselves, and then they did the cutaway scene to Killian, and while they were doing that, all the extremist troops got right up on us. And I'm not a big fan of the Iron Man Mark I suit, and wouldn't recommend using it in any other level unless you're just trying to, unless that's just something you want to do. So now we need Captain America's acrobatic skill here.
This might require some extra muscle power.
And those little handles right there are the only big fig kind of things that you would need in the entire level. So if you come back in free play, it's not really necessary to have a big fig for this level. And obviously you're going to have Captain America to do the shield switches. Now, this shield point here, you could actually use the different characters as long as they have some sort of deflection capability. But you just might as well use Cap, because he's going to be able to do the shield switches. Now, I have a created character who is a combination of Iron Man, and he carries Captain America's shield. So in theory, he would be really good. He would be the only character you would need for this level. So you might consider using the created character to do something like that. Now we're going to make some poles here, and we're going to finally get into Jarvis's mainframe. You can see Jarvis watching us. Now, Jarvis's floating head, that might be a cartoon thing, I don't know, or a comic thing, but it struck me, as sort of foreshadowing for the Vision. And I say that because Jarvis's head is red colored, and when Vision gets created in Ultron, he's going to be red colored. Of course, Jarvis is red because he's hacked. As soon as we unhack him, he's not going to be red anymore. Speaking of the Vision is not one of the characters that's available in this game. There were several characters that were not included, perhaps for fear that they would spoil something. So, Ultron is not in the game. The Vision is not in the game. Falcon is a DLC and only available in his classic form. And the same is true for the Winter Soldier. He's the DLC. Now, at this point, something crapped out in the recording. I'm not really sure what that was all about, but it fixed itself there. So you missed Captain America putting his shield in the other shield switch, but you do it twice. See, here's the second one. So I mean, you didn't miss anything necessarily. But yeah, there are two DLCs for this game. One is the Thor Dark World DLC, and the other one is just a sort of characters and races DLC. I think it's called something, but includes Beta Ray Bill, Falcon, the Winter Soldier, and a couple other characters. And to throw continuity out again, since Audrich Killian is alive, and we've been using the Iron Man 1 suit the whole time. Let's bring in the Mark 42, which we clearly blew up at the end of Iron Man 3 with Audrich, Killian inside. And so now we're in the Mark 42 suit. The Mark 42 suit has probably the biggest group of abilities of any Iron Man suit. You can see one big difference between it and the Mark 6 is this laser that you can use to cut around items. And evidently I didn't cut around them good enough. So we're going to have to go and do that again. Of the Iron Man suits, the Mark 42 and the Heartbreaker have this set of abilities. So, I mean, if you don't want to use the Mark 42, if you don't like the design or something, you can use the Heartbreaker and get the same things. And then this cutscene tells us what the heck we're doing in Stark Tower. Without the Tesseract, Loki needs power. And so they go and steal some arc reactors. And with Loki is the Mandarin. Not Trevor Slattery, the actual Mandarin. And it's the actual Mandarin because Trevor Slattery, the actor who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, is an unlockable character in this game. So, there is a difference. That sort of plays in with the Marvel short, Hail to the King, where it's suggested that the real Mandarin is still out there somewhere. But now we're into the boss fight. Now this is a really neat boss fight. The first part's kind of tedious, but you'll notice that the guy we have to hurt is Killian, who's standing over there on the left. But we can't hurt him until we kill all of his soldiers, and then hit the Mandarin, which you have to allow him to take control of one of your guys. And only when the Mandarin is hit does Killian come out to play, and you can hit him one time. And then you have to, just rinse and repeat the process here. So you've got a combination you never saw in the movies. This is Captain America and Iron Man in the Mark 42 suit. And if you see Iron Man throughout the rest of this playthrough, he's going to be in the Mark 42 suit. They do not show off the Mark 43, which is his Ultron suit, at any point in time. Because again, they're trying not to spoil too much from that movie. They want to give you some hints, and there are definitely some things in this storyline that sort of happen like they happen in Ultron. Specifically, Jarvis being hacked by something. Alright, so we've only got one more hit on Killian. And there's the Mandarin. Let's go. Bashing somebody's skull in with Captain America's shield is, sort of surreal, because you would think that, oh yeah, he's dead. And somehow they survive. Well, because they're Lego pieces. And then the Mandarin does something that's really neat. He takes control of the Hulkbuster suit. So here's something from Age of Ultron that, they went ahead and included in the game. And honestly, I like the look of this Hulkbuster suit better than I like the look of what they'll do for the Hulkbuster suit in the Lego Marvel's Avengers game. For one thing, it's the same size as the Hulk Big Fig, which is nice, whereas the the Hulkbuster suit in Lego Marvel's Avengers is much larger than the Hulk. The Hulkbuster suit by itself has a lot of the same abilities as a normal Iron Man suit. So it's the only big fig that can shoot projectiles. It can also shoot those missiles. And it can hover, but it cannot fly. And that's the only real downside to it, is that it can still do some of the things that big figs can do. It can interact with green stuff. Now, to injure the Hulkbuster suit, you have to fire your missiles at it. There's a big gold piece that you can use your laser on, but it's very rare at this stage in the boss fight that he'll show that to you. So you're better off just activating your missiles. And you'll notice that Captain America could throw a shield at it, but that'd be about it. Now, the House Party Protocol here, again, a callback to Iron Man 3, it just brings in all the suits in the game. So you'll see the Iron Patriot, War Machine, even though these are not Tony Stark's personal armors, the Mark 6, the Mark 7, the the Heroic Age Iron Man suit, which is kind of weird considering that suit's supposed to be merged with Tony Stark himself, and even the rescue armor that Pepper Potts uses in the comics, all make their appearance here in the Hulkbuster fight, and by the end of the fight, they will all be destroyed. It really doesn't matter, of course. I'm not sure if I could have saved some of them by getting the Hulkbuster down sooner, but he does take out. You'll notice that several of those suits respawned during that fight. I saw the rescue suit respawn a couple times. So then Tony's just going to build an arc reactor right in front of the Mandarin, and Cap's going to activate it with a shield switch. And we're going to get another example of why Tony Stark can't buy good insurance. So now we just need to cut the Mandarin out of the Hulkbuster suit. So you can see that gold thing on the back that I was talking about. It's now visible. And now we can pull him out. Little banter between Cap and Tony. And there goes the Hulkbuster suit. Again, that's why nothing on Stark Tower can be insured. So now we're going to see Tony in the Mark 42 for pretty much the rest of the game. And we'll need to move on to follow Loki and see what he's going to do with these arc reactors and the Tesseract in the next level. So we'll see you then.